With Chris Lemonis, head baseball coach at Mississippi State. His team went on the road this weekend to face the Arkansas Razorbacks. Got the middle game of the 3-game series. And, Chris, we were talking before the break. I think we probably look at a season and what's got to be done in much different terms than a coach does. And we talked about last weekend kind of going into it, like, got to get one, got to avoid being swept on the road. If you're thinking about hosting a regional, how differently do you look at week to week in the conference than maybe we or even fans do?
We try to keep it game to game. It's the only way you can stay sane, trying to predict weekends and, what's a successful weekend or not. I mean, it's just, it's game to game for us. And so, we played well. We played well in a lot of factor ways this weekend, and then obviously you drop 2 games that you feel like you could win. So, disappointed about them and trying to figure out ways to be better the next time we play.
So let's just kind of walk through the games. The 7-5 loss on Friday night. You're able to come back and tie the game at 5, or I guess take the lead at 5-4. In the 8th inning, and then give up the 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. What'd you take away from Friday night?
Well, ultra competitive game. I mean, you're facing the number 1 pitcher in the country, arguably, in Hagen Smith, and I thought our guys did a great job. And we actually did a great job getting to their bullpen guys. They went, we made them use all their good bullpen guys that night. Thought we played really well. They had an 8th inning where, man, they just got a handful of hits in a row, and you got to tip your hat. It wasn't like we walked them or made errors. They got hits, and then probably more disappointed we got bases loaded, no outs in the 9th, and we don't get any scratch there. So that's probably the disappointment of the day. But getting to their ace and then making them use a lot of their bullpen, we felt like that was huge.
Saturday, you jump out to the big lead. It's 4-0 after 2 innings. You're up 8-0 going into the bottom of the 4th. Don't score again after that, but you're able to kind of hold Arkansas down. They scratched for a little bit in those middle innings, and then able to put 3 zeros up at the end of the ballgame.
Yeah, I thought Brooks and TD were great. They just came in, they threw strikes, pitched with composure, and made them, get hits, and they just didn't get hits. And so I give those guys a lot of credit. It's kind of the opposite of what happened on Sunday. Kind of very similar games. We didn't show as much composure and poise as we did on Saturday.
Talk a little bit more to us about Brooks and kind of his evolution throughout the course of the season.
He's been a little bit of everything for us, and we knew we were getting a really good guy back with Brooks. A lot of people probably didn't factor him in since he missed the whole year before, but he's kind of a hybrid. He can start, he can relieve, he can go long in your bullpen, he can close. He's kind of done everything for us, and has really evolved, man. He's pitching really well right now, and I'm glad we got him in that spot. And I don't know how I'm going to use him this weekend. He may start or he may throw in relief. We'll just have to wait and see.
Coach, on Sunday, obviously you get out to the big lead, and a big part of that was the freshman Ethan Pulliam, who had a career day, had the big home run there that got the game going for you. He has been a really pleasant surprise for you these past few weeks since you brought him into the starting lineup. Did you know he had that kind of power in the bat?
Well, yeah. I didn't. He'll get mad at me for saying that. But, he hits the ball hard. He just doesn't pull a lot of balls in the air. So, you don't see him. You don't think about him hitting a ton of home runs. But, man, what a great day for him. The home run in the first was huge, or the second, and then just, the at-bats all day long were really pretty special. And I thought the back end of our lineup played great in that game. If we could have got a little more production from the front side, maybe we could have expanded a little bit more, but those guys at the back, man, they provided almost all the offense.
Well, you were kind enough to break some news before you came on with us to give us a chance to talk about it. I appreciate that. I don't know if you did it for us or not, but MSU just tweeting out that Nate Dom's going to get the start this midweek game against North Alabama. How do you handle that? We were talking in the break. Is that kind of like an MLB team would do a rehab start? You just want to see what he can do, or are you putting him out there and hoping that he can give you, 3-4 innings?
Nah, it's more like a rehab start. His volume's not enough, but we need to get him out in the real game. He's pitched the last 2 weeks in our scrimmage. We've scrimmaged in the middle of the week, and so we've let him pitch in those. But it's time to get out there and face an opponent, and hopefully he'll get out there and get a couple innings, and then start to get back in the mix a little bit as we move forward. But he's been good in our midweek outings.
Visiting with Chris Lemonis, head baseball coach at Mississippi State, North Alabama tomorrow, and then Missouri in this final weekend. I don't think we asked you about this. There was some reporting that the Division I Baseball Committee sent out a memo to all of the coaches a couple of weeks back, about canceling games that are on the schedule. I thought there was some ambiguity in it. Just when you got that message, and I don't know that it had ever entered your mind to not play a game at the end of the year, how did you and maybe some of your colleagues receive that note that came from the baseball committee?
We really didn't even talk about it a lot. We've never had it happen here. We do have rain in the forecast tomorrow. So the only thing that made me think about it, I said, I got to make sure if it's, like we want to play. I mean, I need my guys to pitch and go. And people are asking me scenarios and SEC tournament and RPIs and hosting. And, the only thing that we can control is how hard we play and the results we get after each game right now. And so we're preparing to play. But it's kind of a weird email. I know a couple teams had done it in the past and frustrated. I wish we had something in there where certain games didn't kill you or something. I think we played a midweek earlier in the year where we dropped 7 points and we won by like 15. Like that. I wish you had a little protection. And I know we all need strong schedules, but sometimes the midweeks pertaining to who's around you and what you can do. Sometimes you don't have as much choice. But we haven't spoke about it a lot as groups. I don't even know how do they enforce that. I don't know what happens, but we're planning on playing tomorrow. I mean, we're hopefully with good weather, So
we were talking with Jay Powell a few weeks back, and he just threw out an idea that I don't know that I had ever heard anybody say before, because it was related to midweek games and what it does to RPI and whatever. He goes, I'm not so sure I wouldn't just get rid of midweek games altogether and go to 4-game weekends. From a coaching standpoint, do you like that idea or hate that idea?
I'd love it. I think I'd love to play Thursday through Sunday.
Really?
Now I don't know if you want to play, in our world, do we want to play 40 SEC games? The 30 are stressful enough, But I'd like to have something. I'd love to have a schedule that just had 4 a week, If it's Tuesday through, and then whatever. But, trying to slip the 2 midweeks in weeks, that's some really hard stuff. Nowadays, Coach Polk cracks on me all the time. I only had 8 pitchers. That's all I needed. And it's just a different day and age. Kids don't pitch as much, and there's more injuries and all that type of stuff to where if you just had a set schedule, because even for us in the SEC, when they make you play like this week, we're playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Well, it strains your staff a little bit because you got to bump everybody up. So, I'd be in for a standardized schedule of just, 4 days a week, trying to figure out, where you play. I don't know, like in our world, I don't know if you want to play 40 SEC games, If you look at softball, they play 8 weekends, and everybody gets in their tournament. They're one that everybody gets in every year almost. So that's, but they don't play as many SEC games because their RPIs end up so high. So we end up beating the heck out of each other.
Coach, you kind of hit on what I wanted to ask you about with the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is your plan, as it sits right now, to keep it Stephen going first, or do you want to maybe bump him back down and he goes the second game, but he stays on Friday?
I think you're bumping everybody up this week. You got to prepare for the following week and everything else. So we'll probably bump everybody up a day is what we'll do, unless somebody doesn't feel good. But right now, that's our plan.
Last thing for you, Chris. I know you said it's one game at a time, and I completely get that. That's the world that you have to live in. But you're also right there on the cusp of being a host, and we know how big a deal that is. So how big a deal is that going into the final weekend of the regular season, knowing that a good weekend, certainly a really good weekend, and you can kind of put that to bed and feel pretty comfortable about playing in your home ballpark in June?
Well, I think it's exciting. It's one of our top goals in our program is always to host here, to bring the postseason to Starkville. And you know how our fans celebrate the postseason. I mean, it's pretty special around here. So, and it just helps you. I mean, we all know the percentages of how to get to Omaha. It's by hosting. That's the best way. So, yeah, it's a big weekend, but it's a big weekend for almost everybody in the country is fighting to get in, to do this, to do that, and like. I mean, everybody in my office was talking about this morning. I just said, guys, if we just win, we'll be in good shape. So let's focus on, playing well. I know it's a lot of coach speak, but obviously we want to host, and obviously we want to have a great weekend and have a great week of baseball here and finish it out. This will be the last time some of our guys get to play here in the regular season, so I always think that's a pretty special thing. We do our graduations at, this weekend, so we got a lot going on, but we got a lot of important baseball left to play.
Coach, always appreciate your time. Look forward